الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر
Or just to show off, but if that's what you wear, the point is absolutely wear something new, something special, something good, and don't forget about this year we are going for the funny socks. Everybody, all brothers and sisters, just bring your funny socks to the Eid. I'm just looking forward to have this hands together, stretching feet, and we take a picture of all our funny socks. It's going to be an iconic picture for our Eid this year.
Inshallah.
Sisters by themselves, brother by themselves.
So speaking of Louis Vuitton, Sheikh Kamal.
Like the most incorrect sentence beginning ever.
The worst transition ever,
Right.
huh? MashaAllah. So when you think of Eid, you always have, somewhere in the Muslim world, there's always an Eid khutbah that's, making people feel bad on Eid.
Yes.
Because, O worshippers of Ramadan, make sure that you continue to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after.
Yes.
What should our message be on Eid? What should we be communicating to each other?
I call those khutab the you are all trash khutab. The imam gets up, you're all trash and we're worthless and that kind of thing. Yeah, it should be something nice and uplifting, So, I'm just remembering this guy. I cannot repeat what this guy said in the Eid khutbah, but it was horrendous.
But it was definitely in Virginia.
And he was angry. Yes, it was in Virginia.
Yeah.
And he's just some people just get angry when they get up on the minbar. I don't know, you woke up angry or you were angry because there's a khutbah today, but it was really bad. And he started reprimanding the sisters and tearing them apart. And it's also not realistic, the whole things of, if those who worshipped Allah in Ramadan, the Lord of Ramadan is the Lord of, okay. And do you have to remain upon what you were upon in Ramadan? No one is like that. As one of the scholars said, even the Prophet ﷺ, there was a difference between him in Ramadan and outside of Ramadan. And there's a difference between him in the last 10 of Ramadan and the first 20 of Ramadan. So it's not realistic that you're saying that to the people. But at the same time, it shouldn't be where what I call lifestyle A, this is me outside of Ramadan. Lifestyle B is me in Ramadan. And when Eid comes, I'm A again. We're done. Quran, kiss it, put it back on that shelf, see you next year. Fasting, I'm never going to fast. I'm going to do the 6th of Shawwal, and then maybe someone should thank me for that. And I'm never fasting again till next year. So not these extremes. So not extremes in the khutbah, nor extremes in the... and there's just no need for the anger in Eid. And that's why probably they choose Christmas, because nobody's yelling at them on Christmas.
Nobody is.
But Eid, they get reprimanded at the masjid,
What about Sheikh Kamal? Some people say, I hear this a lot of khutab. The comment said, in the khutbah al-Eid, remember our brothers and sisters who are suffering in Palestine and India, those who have no shelter, those who have living in open area, they have no food, they have, and it make you hate your life. It just make you we cannot smile or have fun while people crying and suffering.
Yeah.
It's true there is people suffering, but what do you think of that?
It's
Sheikh Hamad, sorry.
Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, Salah ad-Din didn't smile, and he didn't smile until Masjid al-Aqsa was free. That's something to remind people of on the day of Eid. No, you want to uplift people, you want people to be happy. Alhamdulillah, they just completed a great act of worship, fasting the month of Ramadan. Eid was legislated for you to eat and to drink and to be merry. And so people should be uplifted in these days, and people should be encouraged, and people should be celebratory. You walk around saying, Taqabbalallah minna wa minkum, may Allah accept from us and from you.
You guys are too nice. I don't like this fake stuff. Okay?
What fake stuff?
This kind of not you guys. Where the guy is remembering the ummah when? On the day of Eid. Tomorrow he's got a series he's binge watching on Netflix, but on the day of Eid, remember the calamities. One time a guy came to me, and we're in a lecture, and I joke, and my jokes are great in the lecture, but this guy never smiled. He's just sitting like this the whole time. Q&A time, he comes up to me, he said, how can one smile? I said, you pull this way, you pull this way, show some teeth, that's a smile. He's like, no, I meant How can someone smile knowing that there's an akhirah and there's a hellfire and a grave? I tell them, listen, Habib, Abu Bakr smiled. Don't give me none of that. Abu Bakr smiled. Who are you? Trying to figure out how can we smile when death is imminent. And for these things, it's just, I don't know. You guys are nice. It just ticks me off.
And also, being sad, crying over this, is not going to free Palestine. It's not going to help the people who are suffering around the world. And you're going to add one more sad person to them, which is yourself. I'm not saying we disregard it. Alhamdulillah, we give zakat, we give charity, we help, we make dua for them. We're not disconnected. But everything has its own moment. Everything has its own. The Prophet ﷺ's life is so interesting. The Muhammad life is very interesting. It's very balanced. In the time of tear, he will be in tears. In the time of smile, he will be laughing and smiling with the Sahaba of the line. And in the time where there is seriousness and you're learning, there is like seriousness and learning. Relaxing. So everybody have to balance their life. You can't just think that way. That's why one of the bad habits, okay, in some Muslim country, in Eid they go visit the cemetery. Anybody aware of that culture?
No, very much.
Yeah, in Eid they go visit the cemetery. I mean, that's the day to go to the cemetery? You're supposed to be celebrating Eid with the living one, not with the dead. So, anyway, so what I'm saying is, Eid should be something happy. So, khutbah, I agree, it has to be uplifting, it has to be general, it has to be not too long, it has to be clear message and so forth.
At the same time, a lot of times in the khutbah Eid, there'll be a section that's devoted to reminding people to not fall into haram and commit, relapse again after Ramadan. And that's important too, that we don't celebrate the completion of a great act of worship by then going and doing that which is haram on the day of Eid. A person doesn't show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that way. And one of the manifestations of gratitude is that a person's able to do, to some degree, what they basically are able to carry themselves like they just received a spiritual blessing. So the example that I always like to give of that is that a person, when they experience a spiritual blessing, they don't carry themselves like they didn't receive that blessing. I have a very basic example I give of this. I was 18 years old. A friend of mine got a car for the first time. He was 18 years old. So he immediately became the coolest kid in our group because he had a car. And he prayed Fajr in the masjid. For the first time in his life ever, he prayed Fajr in the masjid because he finally had a car. And he was so thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that spiritual blessing of praying Fajr in the masjid that it affected the rest of his day. And so he was telling us, we had a youth halaqah in the evening, and he was telling us, and he said, I got into my car and I started listening to music, and then I thought to myself, I prayed Fajr in the masjid. Can't be listening to music, so he turned it off. And then he said, I was talking to a friend of mine at school, and I started cursing, and then I said to myself, I can't curse. I prayed Fajr in the masjid. And so he said, I stopped cursing. And so he was showing this incredible gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not going to make my day in which He allowed me to pray Fajr in the masjid like a day like I didn't, right? It changed my behavior. And so when we're able to experience this month of Ramadan and we're crying to Allah about having the ability to pray, to experience another Ramadan, and we're begging Allah for, we don't carry ourselves on the first day of Shawwal, the day of Eid, like we didn't just experience Ramadan.
Well said.
Sheikh, speaking about, you just mentioned zakah, sadaqatul fitr. Tell us a little bit about what is the wisdom of this sadaqah and what are some of the rulings with regards to this sadaqah.
Zakat al-Fitr is, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, it's a purification for the fasting person. There is no one whose fasting is perfect. So Zakat al-Fitr is intended to perfect your fasting, perfect your actions in Ramadan. Also, if there is anything wrong you have done, any sin, it will wipe this away. So a purification, and also to complete and to perfect your fasting. Zakat al-Fitr, it really reminds you is to be humble. Why? Because even after 30 days of fasting, 30 days of reciting Quran, 30 of prayer, long prayers, you still need to do zakat to purify yourself. You see that you're not complete. you're incomplete and you need to do more. Zakat al-Fitr also, it's a message that in Ramadan we give a lot. We give so
Definitely give
much.
a lot.
Alhamdulillah. But still, you still have to give Zakat Fitr. And after all these donations during the year, Sheikh Walid fundraising us every day, then I still have to give Zakat Fitr. Which should teach you something, another lesson. That Zakat al-Fitr teach you a lesson that you will continue do good, you continue giving the rest of your life. Also, Zakat al-Fitr, it shows you that in the moment of celebration, of happiness, you don't forget about your brothers and sisters who are less fortunate. This is a day where the money goes to the poor, mainly, and to be given to the poor in the community. So to make them happy. So in that day, they don't need to worry about money or bills to pay or anything like that. There's a lot like money coming to them and help coming to their way. So even in that Islam teach us in the moment of peak of happiness, I don't forget about others. Because I'm not selfish. I want to be happy and my brothers and sisters happy with me. Zakat al-Fitr also teaches us something interesting. Zakat al-Fitr, it's wajib on anyone who have enough food for that day. That means 99% of Muslim community have to give Zakat al-Fitr. Even poor people, they will end up giving Zakat al-Fitr. Because when you are poor, you still have enough for that day.
So who's the recipient of Zakat al-Fitr?
So the scholar said, the poor people give one another. Yani I'm poor, I give Zakat al-Fitr, and I deserve to receive the Zakat al-Fitr. So what's the point? The point Islam wants to teach us through that action, that you don't learn to be always the recipient. You don't always take. He wants also to experience giving. And that's in itself an incredible concept, if you think about it. Want you to feel that, the happiness of giving. Zakat al-Fitr, it is also something that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ordered to be giving on behalf of every member in your household. It's a reminder for all of us of the responsibility towards our family, our kids. And this for me, every time I give zakat on behalf of my kids, it reminds me personally that my duty as a father toward my kids is not just to make sure that they go to school and they wake up to school. There is a religious duty upon me towards them. I'm trying to purify their deen through the zakah. So that means I have to work to help them to purify their character, to purify their faith as the year goes. Zakat al-Fitr carries so many great meanings for if you start contemplating on them. And I have maybe some more points, but that's enough.
A couple of questions, Sheikh, immediately. The first is who becomes deserving of Zakat al-Fitr then? If the poor are giving it to each other, is it somebody who doesn't have food for the day? Like whoever just...
Anyone who's poor.
Anyone who's poor can receive it. Then of course there's the famous discussion about whether it is...
And also there is another opinion. All the recipients of the 8 categories of zakat, al-mal, also are recipient of zakat al-fitr.
Okay.
And I lean towards that opinion, and I think there's no really proof to just make the distinguish between the two. So, but there's 2 opinions among the scholars in regard to this.
Okay, so then you have the famous issue, obviously, of food versus currency, because the Prophet ﷺ says, "Sa'an min tamrin wa sa'an min sha'ir, and tu'adda qabla khuruj an-nas ila as-salah." So the Prophet ﷺ designated it as staple food items, and you have 3 of the madhahib, the Hanabila, the Shafi'is, and the Malikis, who say that it's food, and then the Hanafis who say currency, correct?
Not really.
Okay.
Even among the other madhahib who said you can give it in a form of
currency,
money. But the money is equal to what the stable food is. So it's about like, in our modern days, 6.5, something like that, pounds of the stable food, rice, beans, okay? So you see 6.5 pounds almost. You take that amount and you see how much that cost. That's why it can be different amount of money every year. Like somebody who said, Sheikh, it was $12 before, you discount it? No, I don't. Just the price of rice drop. Or it goes up to be 15. You know, it depends on that, basically in the price of that stable food. I might go with barley. I don't want to go with, in certain country, I might go with something different completely than like beans, you know? Or even pasta, you know, it is a stable food for in Italy.
So Sheikh, here,
So that's how you calculate the amount of money. And I do believe that you are allowed to give it in either way, and that's the position of Imam Bukhari rahimahullah, and before that Imam Zuhri rahimahullah, and Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, and Abu Hanifa, and one narration we have in many of the madhab, the Hanabila and the Shafi'iyya as well. So it's a very popular opinion, and in my opinion, Zakat al-Fitr, it's something about the poor person. So we have to look at what's the best for the poor people.
it's definitely cash.
Yeah.
I remember calling up people before, Sheikh, because I wanted to give food. I didn't want to give cash. And I'm calling up not random, I'm calling up people, and I'm like, Salaam alaikum, can I bring you some food? They're like, food? You got cash? I'm like, no, I have food. They're like, nah, keep your food. I was like, so cash definitely is more beneficial for people.
Obviously, yes, but sometimes people do that because, for different reasons. But I know a lot of people appreciate food too.
But then the question becomes the food. So we're talking about staple. Yes, maybe in Italy, if you
there's a debate between the scholars. Is a stable food a mikyal, or it's a food? Can I give them a meal?
Or can I just go to HEB and load up a shopping cart and go take it to the family with just all these different items?
There is a debate between the scholars over this issue. I lean towards it has to be something yukal, some mikyal.
It has to be something that's weighed.
No, not weight.
Volume?
Mikyal. Mikyal is a container in the Prophet ﷺ time that you basically use to to measure the amount. So it's like a container this big. So that means it only can take the thing that you can takir. It does. You can put oil in it, for example.
Okay.
But you put dates. You can put raisins. They used to put barley. There is no rice in the Prophet time, at least in Arabia. But let's say anything like this today is beans, rice, pasta.
The beans canned, مثلا, can be canned beans. And some people will make a package that has a thing of oil and some pasta, some canned beans, some tuna, canned.
Tuna doesn't count according to this opinion. It's the majority's opinion. It has to be you can, which is that you can put this how they use it. It's basically you put that container. So that's the mikyal in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when you look at that container of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam time, the scholars look at it and they found it is a little bit less than 3 kilograms, which is 6.5 pounds. So you give it, or you give what is equal to it in money.
So I have a question. How can we go from change the food to money, but I can't change this type of food
To that type of food.
to tuna?
Okay, because the Prophet ﷺ said when he explained what has been giving zakat al-fitr, he specifically mentioned the thing that is not weighted. It is the thing that you can, the thing that you take it with the that measurement, that container. Otherwise, he would open that, for example, the scholar debate over iqd, which is common in the Prophet, like a type of biscuits or dry breads. Many of the Fuqaha said, no, it's not allowed. So even though it was a stable food in the Prophet's time. So the word stable food is not the best translation, actually.
So there's another aspect to this where the Prophet ﷺ says that it be presented to people, it be distributed before people go out to their prayer. Sheikh Kamal, I want to ask you about this idea of even knowing who are the people who are deserving of sadaqah in a community, in your community. Like I heard Sheikh Walid in the dua just now, he made that dua that the Prophet ﷺ was taught, Allahumma inni as'aluka hubb al-khayrat wa tark al-munkarat wa hubb al-masakin. The Prophet ﷺ used to ask Allah for the love of the poor. You come across, people who want to give zakah or they want to give sadaqah, and then you tell them, okay, go ahead and give it. And you know, I remember hearing this question last year and the year before. I don't know anybody who's deserving of zakat in a pandemic, right? So what does that say about our connection to
Reality.
the poor?
Yeah, that is like a strong measure of a very good community, like good to the core, where everyone's aware of everybody. Like, and one of the lessons we learned from one of our teachers, he just one day after Jum'ah said, there's a guy who used to sit here. Every Friday he would sit here. Where is he? And nobody knew. There's another brother who used to sit and he looks just like, everyone would remember him. Where is he now? He hasn't been here in 6 months. Where is he? And not a single person knew. And he said, this is not from the way of the righteous. Like, you should know where people are. So we live in a community and we don't know any poor people. Come on, it's impossible. But it should be a wake-up call for us to get to know. I'll never forget this one time. It was Ramadan and we had all the Zakatul Fitr and it was all food. This is a Muslim country and we're distributing. I put it in my car and this brother knew where all the poor people were. And we're stopping and we're passing it out. And then we stopped at one of my friend's houses. And I didn't know he was poor and I didn't know he was deserving, you know. But it was just, it helps you wake up. Like you think everybody's okay, everyone's well off, everyone's paying the rent. And it's a good reminder, a great reminder.
Very well said.
And then the other thing is, and just one of the kids asked me this yesterday. They saw a poor person in the masjid and he coming for assistance. And then when the person got his assistance, he picked up the phone and called someone. So one of the 8-year-old girls said, they're poor and they have a phone? One of the beautiful things is that the definition of the poor person is the one who can only provide, or afford part of what he needs. Khalas, you're poor. And then we know in Surah Al-Kahf, the ship was فَكَانَتْ لِمَسَاكِينَ. It would belong to poor people. So someone could say, well, they've got a boat and they're poor. And they think that's a yacht with a trailer. They go out on the weekends and stuff. No, they have this boat and they get a little bit of what they need, but they don't have all that they need, so they're poor.
Yeah, standard of living also different from one country to another, from neighborhood to another, from one person to another.
Yeah.
Somebody with a big family different than a lot of this idea that poor people has to be like zero.
Zero, exactly.
That's not true.
I had some social workers were complaining to me. This is, of course, in Virginia. They were saying, these people, they were complaining to me. These people would call us and they say they're poor, they need help, and we take the food to them and we find the kids playing on the PlayStation. But it's a PlayStation, it's not a Tesla, yani. You can afford a PlayStation and then next month, you know, you don't have enough to cover the bills. It's possible. So they think they're being scammed. No, they're not being scammed.
Yeah. Sometimes people can have a lot of responsibilities. Like I know someone, for example, who things happen to them and they have a very high rate mortgage, for example, or rent, or car payments. They were not planning for that. And they broke.
Yep.
They're stuck. What are you going to tell him? Hey, tell with losses everything? No. So
And he still has a job, but he's still poor.
It's like a really high percentage of Americans, I think it's like 60%, somebody can Google it, who live paycheck to paycheck. Like they're just one paycheck away from incredible difficulty. Allah protect us all.
yeah, they said, if you ever want to feel important and people care about you, just miss a couple of bills.
They'll get called by everybody.
Get call and mails and everybody check on you.
Allah understand.
Speaking of giving the zakat before Salat al-Eid,
Yes.
there is also a debate between the scholars when zakat al-fitr should be given.
How early also, tell us how early it can be given.
Okay, when, early or later? The strongest opinion among the scholars that it should be given 3 or 4 days before Eid. Why? Because the point is to make them happy in Eid. You don't want to give them in the beginning of Ramadan, then by the Eid, khalas, there's no point of celebrating Eid and having their finance, improved by the day of Eid. For us in the masjid, we collected maybe 10 days or something like that, or 20 days, but we give it right before Eid, like the 3-4 days before Eid, end of the day of Eid. But also, are you allowed to give it after Eid, zakat al-fitr? A lot of imams are very I'm sorry to say that, sometimes they're very mean about this issue. Your zakat is not acceptable. Why do you give zakat al-fitr in the Salat al-Eid? You know, first of all, the majority of the scholars, the Hanafi, the Maliki, the Shafi'i, said that zakat al-fitr all the way until sunset. So the majority of the fuqaha said that the zakat al-fitr until the sunset. And then an opinion among the Hanabila, and some others, individual also from the other madhab, it's only until Salat al-Eid.
I just said that today in my khutbah.
So did I.
Yeah.
We said, if you give it after the salah, it is just a sadaqah.
No, I didn't say that, but.
Okay, so there is a hadith in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam which is Sheikh Kamal said, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if you, فَمَنْ أَدَّاهَا قبل الصلاة فهي زكاة ومن أداها بعد الصلاة فهي صدقة. If somebody fulfill it before salah, it is zakat. And if you fulfill it after salah, it is charity, sadaqah, just a general sadaqah. طيب. That's the exact evidence. The majority of the scholars used to say it's allowed to be given after salah. هذا هو نفس الدليل من يقول بجواز إعطائها بعد الصلاة. Why? Because the Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم قال فمن أداها بعد الصلاة. معناها إنه أداء. It means he fulfilled the wajib by giving it after salah. But it will not be in the same level of reward like before salah. It reduced from the zakat level, which has level, to the sadaqah level. But it is sufficient. You have fulfilled the obligations. You're not sinful, because you are sinful if you don't give zakat al-fitr. You follow me? Also, they use other evidence that the Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن يعطى قال في يوم العيد. The Prophet قال in the day of Eid. And the day of Eid is from the Fajr all the way to Maghrib. Anyway, the issue is debate between the Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah leans toward only until Salah, after Salah will not count as zakat. The issue is there is a room, in my opinion, of flexibility.
Sheikh, but realistically, when you're talking about the Prophet's time, that person is taking the food, they're going to that poor person, I'm showing up for lunch on the day of Eid, here you go, here's your food. Now they have the food to celebrate on the day of Eid. But if I'm going and I'm putting $10 in a donation box at 12 p.m. on the day of Eid, I come for the masjid at Asr time on the day of Eid, and I put $10 in a donation box. At what point is this money going to actually transfer to those poor people?
I mean, you do what you can. If you deliver it second day of Eid, third day of Eid, that's fine. For our masjid, for example, sometimes we in one of the year, I remember, I make sure that zakat al-fitr distributed in the same day of Eid. Almost, I can tell you 95%, 97% of it will be completely distributed before the day of Eid ends.
So I'm just saying.
And some talk about like $10,000, $15,000.
I'm saying we make it harder on the masjid to do that if we're walking around,
Yes,
I can do it until Asr time, I can do it until,
absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
yeah.
good. Yeah, the earlier you give it, the easier for us to
Distribute it, absolutely. Jazakallah khair. So, as to fathers, parents, how do you make Eid amazing for your kids and your spouse?
Okay,
and yourself.
For us, we always in our home, because we have, mashallah, all the kids and stuff. So what do? We exchange gifts. So we wrap gifts and we pick names. So Walid is going to get gifts to Lulu, and Yusuf will give gifts to Ammar. And so everybody random like this. We pair together, the whole family. And we buy gifts, we wrap it, and we have after Salat al-Eid, after I come back from the Eid, dead, like a zombie, no sleeping. I go and we open it and we have big fun, then we have a big dinner, together or lunch. That's basically the standard of Eid for us. We must give gifts, and I always make sure that the gifts that I give to my kids in Eid is way more than I give them in birthdays or anything like that. Because I always wanted them to know that Eid, where the real gifts are. That's the real deal. Don't say, I want this for my birthday. No, I want this for my Eid.
Sheikh, Eid's on a Monday. How important is it that parents take off from work? How important is it that kids get taken out of school?
Extremely important. Extremely important. You have to embed that on them. That Eid is something so special. You know, it's so important because, as I said, it's part of what Islam is. You know, it's part of the entity of Islam and Muslims, is to celebrate Eid and to be happy in Eid. And please, parents, don't yell at them, don't be scream, don't be mean to them. Be happy. I know you're tired, I know you didn't sleep well, but just, be happy. I know they're gonna be late and preparing, their clothes, and putting them on. That's fine. Just be patient. That's why we're making Eid 9:30. Taking consideration, all this kind of stuff.
Jimmy.
What do you think, Sheikh Kamal? What do you guys do?
I mean, I promised them that I won't beat them for that day, and that makes that makes it special already. No, I'm kidding. Of course, I'm kidding. It's 2 days, not 1 day.
He is kidding, just in case.
It's 3 days, not 2 days.
Yeah, I don't know if I can claim that I make a really fun Eid day, but yeah, after the prayer, this was before the Moody Gardens thing, so we got to plug the Moody Gardens. That's a really fun Eid, because before that, we'd get dressed, decked out, we'd go to the prayer, say salam to everybody, come back, take pictures, and then we go to IHOP. Where else do you go? You go
Sunnah.
eat.
It's American Sunnah.
And then after we eat, we go to like the Dollar Tree and get them nice toys. All right, not the Dollar Tree. We go somewhere. Everybody picks a nice
Since
toy.
it's Eid, it's Five Below.
Right? So yeah, everyone picks a nice toy, like kind of like what Sheikh Walid said, and everyone comes home and wants to open the toys, and that's my chance when they're opening their toys and experiencing them. There's at least an hour of just being with the toys. That's when I go sleep, and that's kind of the Eid day.
Nice. Yeah. Also, we go a lot to Kima and stuff like that. So I make sure that, at least if I can purchase, because I am, as an imam, it's very hard. Day of Eid is just, I'm dead. It's kind of very hard for me. So, but at least I make sure that the kids, and now, alhamdulillah, older sisters and moms, that they have day off. It is so important to be fun. And, just associate that if you can. I'll also give you suggestions. Go ahead first. What do you do?
But Moody Gardens is a game changer. Just so
Can you tell us
finish.
what the plan is at Moody Gardens, if
Okay,
there is a plan?
I don't even know what that place really is, because I just see these pyramids and stuff. But
Pyramids?
Yeah,
Like
there's
the pyramids in Egypt or the real ones in Sudan?
Oh, okay, good. I know there's a lot of stuff to. I got this family pass, a year pass for Moody Gardens, and I just put it in like we're gonna go. Until they expired, we never went. So I never went there, but I know there's a lot of interesting things. But just as far as Eid's concerned, we get the room in the hotel and everything, and all the kids were asking me since yesterday, are we gonna go swim? Because they had that pool, Kahari's kids and my kids, we were just in the pool for the whole day. But even that was just a great experience for them. So, and you don't want to swim, go down and to explore the other things they have there.
Speaking of which, Sheikh Kamal, by the way, he's challenging you guys in Eid in a bull ride.
Didn't we
Bull
talk
ride.
about that? The bull ride?
No, we didn't. We talked about, I was going to a real rodeo, not the mechanical one.
Oh, this is a mechanical bull.
Yeah, this is a mechanical bull. Yeah.
So, and also in the Eid, we have this big ball where you go inside and you kind of roll
Nice.
inside it. And this for older,
Yeah.
brothers and sisters, I guess. So, if you're gonna ride that, make sure that you covered well.
Skip breakfast.
You're gonna be like, I skip breakfast too. So there's a lot of like fun for.
And the
elders.
ventriloquist is coming. I'm excited about that. Who else likes ventriloquists in here? Nobody?
What is this?
Hello, they have the puppet and they speak without moving their.
Yeah.
And my kids and I, we get on YouTube and we actually take classes on ventriloquism. So we got to the letter F, like how do you pronounce F without closing your lips, So,
Nice. Yeah. Also, so one of the things that the community should do to also provide good outlet for kids in Eid and for family. What about you? How you make your Eid?
I don't
fun?
really do anything,
New
to be
York.
honest. I got nothing special for y'all, man, to be honest. Just IHOP and going to the salon. In New York, it's different because it's Sudani Eid, so you visit like literally 100 people. You just go from house to house, which brings up another question actually for
What's
you.
your, maybe you ask the audience, what's their favorite part of Eid?
That's what the chef just asked him.
I was going to say, what's the thing that you still remember in your childhood, or if you...
The best Eid you've ever had. What did it look like?
One thing that, you know what, I love. For me, when I was young, the best thing about Eid, that every relative give me money. So that's something I love about Eid. When I was kids. Now I give the money. So anybody want to share something so we know? Maybe we can learn from you guys. Anybody would like to share something about Eid? Yes.
Honestly, my favorite Eid was last year's one at the Pasadena Convention Center. That was amazing.
The Pasadena Convention Center. Oh, when we had all this like
Because not only were
Texas
we there
style.
to pray together, and also you and the cowboy hat was amazing. But it was like afterwards, like there was something of keeping everyone there. You know, there was a lot of food.
Nice food trucks and like pet zoo and ride. Yeah, that's nice. Anybody else want to share something about it? Okay, go ahead, check them out. Hey.
What moment? Go ahead.
We had like 5 families come together, and it was just a big brunch. We just kept eating.
MashaAllah. He said 5 families come together and they had a big brunch.
You know when I go for food and eat, I don't go to IHOP. I go to Cats.
Why is that?
Oh man, it's killer.
What's special about cats?
You need to go try it.
Cat's Deli.
Huh?
Cat's Deli?
Yeah.
You know something that I really liked while you're mentioning Eid, probably of the most unique things that I've seen in communities is the open houses on Eid. So the idea of people saying, you know what, working with the masjid or coordinating and basically saying my house is open from 12 to 4 for whoever wants to come. My house is open from 4 to 6. My house is open from 4 to 7. Because there's always going to be, especially in a city like Houston and especially in a state like Texas where you have people coming from all over the country moving, you're going to have people who don't have any family. You're going to have people who don't really have any program or any friends. And so the most beautiful Eid experiences I've had are those types of Eids where you have people opening their homes.
We should have, inshallah, also a Eid day for converts, new Muslims, and that's also something very special, in my opinion, that I see in communities. I know one brother in his Eid, he rent all these moonwalk and stuff kits and barbecue outside his house for the whole entire neighborhood. So all the kids in the neighborhood just wait for the Eid. Because free cookies, barbecue, burger, hot dogs, and playing, all the kids are welcome. So that means a lot to the kids actually in the neighborhood. So I know this brother is like, I saw that on his house, and I was so happy.
MashaAllah. What you brought up quickly there was a very important point. So in the old days, again, in Virginia, we would, reverts would ask, can we go to Thanksgiving with the family? No, Thanksgiving is haram. So now the whole family is coming from all over. This is the one day where you can see the whole family, but just because you became Muslim, you can't see your family. Thanksgiving is haram. Okay, how about Christmas is haram, celebrating and attributing a son to. And then when Eid comes,
nobody goes.
They're at home, and we go with our families and everything, and they're just sitting there alone. And it was just so sad, and it's so mean and cruel, Yeah. So we started even doing like a Eid celebration at the masjid, like the entire day, just so that people who don't have families or have non-Muslim families can feel Eid. But now, of course, we don't even give those fatwa. Go to Thanksgiving.
In Eid, there is also an important point, which is takbir. We make takbir from Fajr all the way until Salat al-Eid start. You say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Sheikh Ammar, what do you think is the wisdom behind takbir at the end of Ramadan and the beginning of Eid?
I think the
What comes to
answer
your mind?
is whatever you're about to say.
I'm just asking. Come on.
I have no idea, Sheikh.
What do you think takbir is specifically?
From Maghrib or from Fajr?
From Fajr?
Fajr.
From Fajr. Until Maghrib. Or
Until
the Salah.
Salat al-Eid.
Al-Eid. Okay.
Yeah, you talk about Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Fitr until Salat al-Eid. Always I see the flyers. Takbirat start at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. لا حبيبي, takbirat start from Fajr. Does start from 8 a.m. Okay?
I'm
So
going to
come
shoot
on.
a shot in the dark.
Go.
Okay? You're saying Allahu Akbar because Allah is greater, the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greater than, I don't want to say everything you've offered already, but the idea of Allah still deserves more and He still deserves my worship and He still, even on the day of Eid, you're still continuing. Allah is always greater.
Very well said. Sheikh Am.
So I got it?
Good. Absolutely. It's a good point.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Anything? Anything
Yeah,
else?
I just had a point. Actually, the embarrassing. This was my khutbah topic today. It was how to end a good deed, and there's a pattern you'll see where good deeds, when you finish doing a good deed, whether it's Hajj or Ramadan or Salah, you always end with istighfar and more dhikr. Even the life of the Prophet ﷺ ended that way. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر. لا مش العصر.
إذا جاء نصر الله
إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره. تسبيح, dhikr, and istighfar. After Hajj, after Ramadan,
After Salah,
after
astaghfirullah.
Salah. And one of it, I think, is the one you said. And you said it's a continuous thing, it never ends. يعني, it's not vacation. خلاص, I'm done. And Eid is here, and I'm not. So you're constantly in remembrance and making dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I had some other points, I can't remember now.
For me, when I say Allahu Akbar at the end of Ramadan and before Eid, it's a declaration that Allah is really the highest things in my heart and my life. That's why I give up food for 30 days. That's why I give up so many of the worldly matters and in 30 days, just because Allah the great things of in my heart. It's declaration of I win. I won. You know? That's a declaration, because you say Allahu Akbar when something great happened, that's right. So I just finished 30 days of Siyam, 30 days of Quran, 30 days of Salah. That shows that really Allah is something so great in your mind, in your conscience. That's why you were able to do that. And you declaring that now, verbally, after you declare it, through your actions in the last 30 days of Ramadan. That's a very important concept to keep in mind. As you continue, as you heard the Mashaykh say, as you continue, Allah will always continue to be the greatest things in your heart and your mind and in your life.
Jameel, so just to wrap up, inshallah, we're
46.
Yeah, so you got Eid. Just some final advice with regards to finishing strong, Sheikh, finishing Ramadan strong. So you mentioned something very interesting, this notion of ending a good deed with repentance and seeking forgiveness. So seeking forgiveness at the end of Ramadan, repenting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end of Ramadan. Anything else you'd like to add with regards to that, or any general advice as far as closing Ramadan out?
Yeah, I need to think.
Okay, Sheikh Walid.
For me, I would remind people who can fast the 6 days of Shawwal. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you fast Ramadan, you follow it with the 6 days of Shawwal, as if you prayed fast Ramadan and follow it with the fasting 6 days of Shawwal, as if you fasted the whole year. Ramadan multiplied by 10 is 10 months. 6 days multiplied by 10, that's 60, that's 2 months, so that's 12
Sheikh,
months.
I have some days I need to make up from Ramadan first. Do I have to do that first or not?
No, you don't have to. You don't have. You can do the 6 days before you do. That's my opinion in regard to this issue. Before you.
Is it better for me to do
It's
first?
better, yes, to always fulfill the obligations before the volunteers. But it is allowed for you to do that. And when you complete the days that you missed in Ramadan, you take the reward, inshallah, of the whole year. And 6 days of Shawwal, it is sunnah, and it is proven sunnah from the Prophet ﷺ. And you can do the 6 days, but you're not allowed to fast the day of
Eid.
Eid. But after that, you can fast every Monday, Thursday. You could take them straight, 6 days straight. And guys, when you do the 6 days of Shawwal, remember me. When I'm telling you now, it's not as easy as Ramadan. You know why? Because not the vast majority of people don't do the 6 days of Shawwal. Ramadan is so easy because everybody around you doing it. That's why it's so important for the community to be together. That's why it's so important to surround yourself with good company. Because when you're surrounded yourself with good people, doing good things become something easy. Something not hard. But if you're the only one doing that, it becomes so tough and hard. And also because the day is going to be longer.
Can I fast the 6 days of Shawwal in December?
They're not Shawwal anymore.
That's a good point. That's a logical point, but I'm making an emotional argument.
No, because the problem is Shawwal. Shawwal is a specific month.
Okay.
This guy asked
It's
us,
like fasting Ramadan in December.
Is that not possible?
No.
Okay.
You know, guys, Ramadan possible to be in December.
When it comes in like 10 years.
When it comes in December, it's December because it's a lunar calendar. It moved. In 2030, we're gonna have 2 Ramadan in one Gregorian calendar. Yeah, it's happened every 33 years, something like that.
MashaAllah.
So it's gonna be the beginning of January, then the beginning and basically the end of December. So you're gonna catch few days in December. Huh? For 4 years. Oh. 2030, 2030, okay, for 4 years. I'll be interesting. So anyway, so that's something like unique.
Dr. Musa, do we have a winner of this weight loss challenge? Oh, that's what you wanted to know? Okay, yes. Bismillah.
there was a guy, he asked his wife, he said, is it true your father is going to send us Ramadan's money in Shawwal?
I don't get it.
شوال هيرسل لنا قروش رمضان في شوال. شوال is you guys say انتوا بتقولوا شوال احنا بنقول شوال. Big bag كده. So he said you're gonna send it's a sack. Is he send us Ramadan money in a sack in Shawwal?
Oh my goodness.
That's it.
That's called.
It's an Arabic joke.
That's not dad joke. The
No,
grandpa
oh
joke.
my goodness. That's just it's not even a dad joke, it's just a bad joke.
This is some classic Sudani joke right here. Some good stuff.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah, we
Sheikh,
have
you destroyed your
Sheikh,
standard.
okay, I said I made the announcement for this after khutbah today, and I said we're going to have the winner of the biggest loser, and I said this is one of the few times when you can make dua to be from al-khasirin.
From the losers.
From the
From
losers.
the losers. Jazakallah khair, Dr. Musa.
Wallahi, alhamdulillah, and I have to admit, I lost, alhamdulillah, and you wait Ramadan, but I just found it, alhamdulillah. Like,
خلينا ناخذه.
Mics?
خلينا ناخذه. انا مش خليك.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
So, I want to first, wife always reminds me to say nice things. So first, I'd like to congratulate all the participants, really. Every year we have this thing, and it always surprises me how much of enthusiasm we get from the community. And I think it's basically the leadership we have because they want to engage everybody in the community to do the programs. So this year, it was kind of short because Ramadan sort of snuck up on us and we weren't sure whether we were going to have it together or not. But alhamdulillah, we all together in this masjid and praying, but not only for Ramadan, but participating in a lot of activities. So this year, we did have a winner. Actually, he's a young gentleman, and I was very impressed by him. Yusuf Al-Sali. I think I saw him around. Oh, there he is. He lost 17 pounds.
Allahu
by
Akbar.
the-
Allahu Akbar.
Right.
This
Looking
gentleman,
slim. MashaAllah.
This gentleman, not only was he doing Ramadan, the fasting, but he was working out in school. And I think it was a sister who vouched for you or somebody said, yep, I was driving him to the gym and making sure he works out.
MashaAllah,
So that's
MashaAllah.
great.
That was her.
There she is, yes.
MashaAllah.
Good
No,
job.
thank
good
you.
job.
And then the other one is Najam Meman. I'm not sure whether he's...
Najam.
Najm.
He,
I,
yeah, we have 3 people actually who tied for 11 pounds. So he lost 17 pounds.
MashaAllah.
So we had 3 people. Najam was one, Al-Mahar, and Sulaiman Muhammad.
MashaAllah.
So those are the 3 that lost 11 pounds.
MashaAllah.
Sheikh, Brother Sulaiman,
Yeah,
the Kabir's father.
Kabir's father.
Oh man, he's been giving me all these drinks. All Ramadan.
That was his way to make sure you don't win.
MashaAllah.
And he
And
keeps
so-
like, this protein shake is so important. And I'm getting all the calories, and he's like,
He gave you all the calories.
because his wife make him drink it, and he give it to me, and he tell his wife he had it or something.
Oh,
like
I
that.
see. So that's why you didn't win, huh? And I'll give it to my wife because she has for the sisters here.
Awesome.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
It's so nice to see everybody together here, and Sheikh Walid, all three of you made this Ramadan just absolutely beautiful.
Alhamdulillah.
So the sisters side, we had two winners, and I think one of the sisters won again this year. So the first one is Sister Shireen. I'm not going to say how much weight they lost because, but please come up, Sister Shireen.
What a commitment, mashallah.
And this lady fought me every single day to say, I'm going to be the winner.
So, Sister Asma, I've learned to never ask women their age. We're not allowed to ask them how much weight they lost also? Is that it?
Yeah, it's kind of private.
Okay.
Okay.
And the other sister that won last year as well is Sister Umayya. She here?
Oh, mashallah.
Inshallah.
Do you want to come get her gift?
MashaAllah.
Yes. I just want to say that today I got a text from a sister. She was so encouraged by this weight loss, but not more about the weight loss, but the encouragement she has gotten from us. And she really wants to continue this as we go forward, and she asked me if we could do another one for like 3 months. So inshallah, I'll work on that and see if we can create one. And
That's
also,
need a support group.
yes, I'm going to do a support group for the sisters. And, support meaning it's not about depression or any kind of mental major illnesses you're going through, but I hear a lot of sisters going through just simple challenges in life. And I understand those challenges can be very difficult, and sometimes you need to voice them. So sometimes physicians are busy, they don't have time to listen. So I have actually gone back to school and got certified as a integrative health and wellness coach, and with my nursing background, I hope to listen to you sisters, and hopefully, we can come to a place where you feel peaceful. So inshallah, Sheikh Walid and I will be getting together and planning that out. But Jazakallah khair. Eid Mubarak to all of you.
Jazakallah khair.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So with that, inshallah ta'ala, we end this. Yes, sir.
Somebody talking, guys. Hold on, please.
Uh-huh.
My dad pays on behalf of that brother.
Yes.
Does that cover my obligation, or do I still have to pay my?
Yes, if your dad paid on your behalf, or anybody paid on somebody else's behalf, that's fine. Yes.
So what can you recommend for the other 2 days of Eid? So the first day of Eid, have a lot of fun. What about the other days of Eid?
Eid al-Fitr is only 1 day. Some scholars say 2, but the strong opinion is 1 day. But you can celebrate 3-4 days if you want. But Eid al-Adha, no, it's 1 day and 3 days after. So it's 4 days.
All right, guys. With that, inshallah ta'ala, we end. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi
Next week there's no...
Next week there's no Friday Night Lights because of Eid. That's the news to me.
He'll be the
I'm
set.
asking.
Oh, no, we are. We do have Friday Night
Okay,
Lights.
so we do have Friday night like next week.
لغته.
Yeah, inshallah. So Friday light night.
Sheikh Walid is starting a class. I don't know if you heard him talk about it in the Taraweeh, but he's starting a class on tadabbur over the Quran, which is how to contemplate the Quran, which is an amazing, beautiful topic. And inshallah, the Shaykh will announce the start time soon. But the goal is to be able to read the Quran and exercise your ability to interact with the Quran and create your own experience, your own gems, your own reflections on the Quran in a safe way. And that's why being guided by Shaykh Walid is really important, inshallah ta'ala. So look out for that course, that class, which will start at the masjid soon, inshallah ta'ala. And
Yep.
That's
And for the rest of the night, inshallah ta'ala, I have a request. No babies in the area where the sisters are. in the mother room, and any chat, any talk are not going to take place in the prayer hall. If you want to talk, the community hall is available, sisters and brothers. And please be nice, be courteous. If you see some people talking, especially if they're loud, you reach out to them, say, please, let's keep the talk outside. The talk in the masjid in general, even with a soft voice, is something disliked. You know, ulama almost agree on that, something disliked. Just the chat and worldly matter. Just let's keep this place good for prayers, for dua, had its own respect. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to see everybody tomorrow, inshallah, Taraweeh, and see you. I'm gonna be looking for these funny socks, okay? And Eid. I'm just looking forward for it. Qiyam, inshallah, will be, if we keep this number, it's gonna be 3:30. Inshallah.
Inshallah. So
3:30.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله